Hello and welcome. So in this video, we'll be making a testimonials website. So the ultimate goal for making this lecture is to get you know more about the map function in JavaScript. So I've created a folder, or more like a code sandbox, and in it you can just go to this particular URL by just pausing the video, and then you can just watch the code that I've written over here in the testimonials.js. So inside this thing, we have an array of objects with name, developer, and text. So basically, each and every object depicts a user who is a developer or who is not a developer, or vice versa. Developer, if developer is true, that means the user is a developer. It's something like that. So before making this application or making this website, I just want to add more information over here. I want to add stars, like how many stars that the user has given us, and description, some random description. Okay, and I'm gonna add the same thing to all of the other values as well, right? All right, great. So now everything is added over here. Now, so the design that we'll be making will be something like this. It would be something like this one. All right. So let's get started. Now, the very first thing that we have to do is import the testimonials that we have exported from here. All right. So let me just quickly import testimonials from testimonials. All right. There you go. Now, all we have to do is basically map this particular testimonials inside our return. So it's very simple and straightforward. Let me just change the styling of it, and let me just add bootstrap. So I've done that by going to this website. That's done. So now it's all about mapping the values. Just like in the design, we will have, basically we'll be using the bootstraps row. So basically I will add a div over here, class name with container. This container would hold all of the testimonials, and this will be a row. All right. Now now right over here we will be basically mapping the values that we get from this testimonials dot map. So you know what is a map is. Map will contain basically a callback function, and in that callback function we have three parameters. We have value, we have index, and we have the array itself. You don't need to write all of them, but I'm just writing it just for the sake of this tutorial, just for the sake of making this easy for you to understand. And right over here we will have a return, and I'm gonna return an empty fragment. These are known as empty fragments. It's like, equal to div, writing div over here and writing div over here, but I tend to write like this. It's very simple and easy for me to do that. Now the very first thing that this thing will have is a div with a call lg4, call md6, and call sm12. So this will be responsive if I do this thing. Now right over here we'll have the card. All right. card, and this will have a shadow on it, and card testimonial. Okay, this is not a bootstrap class, but I will be adding custom styling to it. Now on the left hand side, on the very first thing, we have to basically map the name. So I'm gonna write a span over here, and before adding a span, I would make this thing as a deflex flex column. So it will have a display of flex and flex direction of columns. And after that, over here, I'm gonna write value dot name. So see, over here, when I write value dot, there are like different attributes over here. I'm just gonna write name. All right. As soon as I do that, as you can see, this thing is working in this way. All right. See, it's showing those shadows over there. Everything looks fine, right? So now it's all about mapping the other things as well. Now just below that, I'm gonna write value dot developer. So it's like, I'll do some conditional rendering over here. The value, I'll write value dot description is equal to true. If that is the case, then I would write over here developer. And the other case around will be something like this. I would write something like student. All right. So the thing is, this shouldn't be description. This should be a developer. All right. So it's like conditional rendering for the students who are like, for the people who are like developers, it will automatically show developer over here. For the students who are like developers, it will show developer, and the students who are not developers will show a student. Right. Nice tongue twister. Anyways, let's move forward and let's write this next part. So now right over here, I'm gonna write span and write class name as text that the user has written, and I'm just gonna write value.txt. This is the small text, and after that we'll have the description. All right. So let me create one more span over here, and I'm gonna give the class name of description, and let me write value.description. This is some random description. Let me just go ahead and quickly add more data over here. And so in this particular description. So it will automatically add some data to it. All right. So now the next part is very easy. Next part is adding some styling, and we are done with it. All right. And at the end of this video, I have a challenge for you. You have to do that. All right. So now right over here, we will basically add some, let's just start by giving class names, name and developer. All right. Text is there, description is there. All right. Everything is covered. So now it's all about styling stuff. The very first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add a padding on both the sides of like px3. It would add some padding over here, and yeah, it would do something like this. And to the name, we'll add a class. All right. And we'll increase the font size to something like 1.3 rem. All right, and font weight to 700. Just make it bold. And all right, just make it 1 rem. You don't have to be like 1.1. Could be a little big. All right, now after that we would add basically we would be adding something like, um I guess that's it over here. And after that we would be basically adding the basically would be designing the designation. Now designation will be a little bit smaller, which is developer, font size 1 rem. We'll make it 0.9 and opacity as 0.7. So it will make it look something like this. It looks like gray, but it's not gray. The opacity is just small. And apart from that, I'm gonna give a margin bottom of 12 px just to remove this part and like basically isolate it from the bottom text. All right, so now after this thing, uh it's very easy. It's now the easy part is like, just copy this thing, not the developer, the other one, text. So we'll have to make this thing a little bit bigger, more like 1.2 rem. All right, because this is the part where uh, people would like see the stuff. That's basically people would automate the basic response whenever a person would see this design would be automatically towards over here. So you have to make it in that way. That's just some design principles that you have to follow. And one more thing, you just have to make text capitalize, text transform capitalize, so it will make it capitalize. All right, that's fine. And now the next part is the part where we have to also, I'm gonna add some margin bottom to it again. Margin bottom, which is something like npx. All right, cool. Now the easy part is the description part. And let me tell you guys, all of us kind of miss this thing, but I'm gonna show you how it works. So the very first thing that you're supposed to do is to decrease the line height. Okay, normally it's, yeah, not that much, but you can make it 1 rem so that the text would be in correct same order. And next part is to make it text align justify. All right, just to make sure that all the text is spanning all over the space that is left. All right, it's like that. Now it's very easy. Now we just have to add some padding on this particular, and then there you go, it's done. Looks great. I'm just gonna add a heading. Maybe you could also perhaps design this testimonial even more better, but our main goal was to learn how to use the map function. All right, the map function will contain each and every value. It's like we are looping through this testimonials array of objects, and inside that array each element is an object. So I'm using the dot operator to access that object: value dot name, value dot developer, value dot text, value dot description. All right, that is how it works. So now let me just show you some CSS styling over here. It's over here, right? Card testimonial is over here, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna add this up. Let me just open up in a new window. All right, great. And let me write something like this, h1. All right, class name text center my3 my4 testimonials. All right, cool. So now I'm just gonna add some styling to it, this particular this thing. So whenever someone would hover this thing, so we would add a transform translate -4px. So now as you can see, there's some, let me just increase this thing to 9 so that you guys can see this thing. As you can see this thing will, you know, automatically move forward like that. One more thing that I've noticed over here, there's no padding in on the vertical side of these testimonials. It's like, you know, they both, all of them are sticking together. So now in order to fix this thing, we can also add a small, let me just show you, we can add some margin. All right, margin bottom 12px. Okay, I don't know if 12px works. Let's make it 24px. 24px. All right, 24px works fine. So now as you can see over here, we are actually doing this. So now it is having this animation. So how do I make it smooth? So in order to make it smooth, we have to add transition property in CSS all 0.3s. That means anything that is changing in a hover state, all means any attribute of CSS that is being changed, it will take 0.3 seconds to change. And the type of animation it will happen, it will use is ease in and out. They're like different ones as well. They are like linear, they're like ease in, ease and the one that I always use, and the one that you should also use is ease in and out. So now if I do this thing, look at this thing, looks great, isn't it? One more thing that we will be doing over here is just remove this shadow. All right, now it's like this. We'll add a color to it, or perhaps, okay, I'll just add a border to it as 1px solid white, or more like a different shade of white. Okay, it doesn't have that thing. Let me use gray. Okay, so it has these things. And let me add a border radius of perhaps 110px, which will make it very rounded. So let me just change it up to 5px. If we make it 5px, it will have this thing. So now the thing that we will be doing is that we'll add a box shadow as soon as this thing will pop up. So let me just show you how to do that. So now I'm gonna write something like this: box shadow as 1px, 10px, 5px, 0px, RGBA, and right, which would be black 0, 0, 0, and I'm gonna make this thing as 0.75. So now look at it. Doesn't it look cool? See this thing? It looks as if we are opening up this part. Right? So now this was the part where we have just mapped the testimonials. Now what I want you to do in the next video, where I'll be covering the solution, I want you to basically map the values. First, I want you to take the array that is over here, this particular array, which I'll be, you can just go to this this particular URL and grab all of these things. So over here, I want you to grab this array, and then after grabbing it, I just want you to use a filter function to create two more arrays. One array would be of developer arrays, and the second array would be a student arrays. And now I would want you to basically isolate each and every testimonial. It's like here there should be heading of something like this. Let me just show you. Here the heading should be like student testimonials, and the other heading should be like developer testimonials. It should be like that. So please just go ahead and try it out by your own. If you are stuck, then please watch the next video. There will be working on the solution. So see you all guys over there.